Hello, Cynical But here. Today I'm going to be having a look at the law, just find out whose law is it anyway. Well, call me cynical, but if you're wealthy and well connected, you can get away with anything. It's the same story across the world. If you were poor, then you were guilty. No money, no rights. Humans and animals are treated exactly the same. The only time most people would use a lawyer is for a divorce, a death, or buying a house. In fact, all the most difficult and stressful times of one's life seem to require a solicitor to be there, earning shitloads of money from an already very expensive and difficult situation. As with brewers and bookmakers, pimps and pushers, there's a lot of money to be made from misery. But that's all chicken feed to a top corporate lawyer or a good criminal barrister. These people can earn fortunes while making it possible for heinous crimes to go unpunished. We have the super rich with their super injunctions and non-disclosure agreements signed by all parties who are likely to witness their immoral and possibly illegal acts. No one can testify against these people without themselves breaking the law, and so the wickedness continues, a widely recognised but seldom exposed murky area of private/public life. Just keep your mouth shut. It's not in the public interest. Not in the public interest, my arse. I think you should let the public decide whether it's in their interests or not. If someone wants to stand for Parliament or stand on a stage or on a pedestal or in any other way promote themselves to the public, then we have a right to know about them. The more powerful they become, the more we have a right to know. If some pop star or footballer cheats on his missus, I don't care. A dickhead behaving like a dickhead, well, who'd have thought it? He didn't win the X Factor because of his economic promises. However, if an MP cheats on his wife, then he's betrayed a person to whom he's made a solemn vow. How can we, the electorate, trust a man or a woman who deceives their life partner? You have to ask yourself, would this person lie to me? If they'd lie to the missus, they'd lie to fucking you, mate, I tell you. Then you've got the loophole lawyers. There's corporations constantly breaking moral law as well as criminal laws. They retain teams of sharp lawyers who twist the legal loopholes for the requirements of their corporate masters. There are dreadful acts committed every day against the common good, from polluting the environment to tax evasion, none of which could be accomplished without teams of lawyers whose job it is to find legal ways of cheating us, the people. I suppose the cost of a brilliant and completely immoral person is totally prohibitive to all but the major corporations and the super rich. And as far as a lawyer goes, I think to represent that which they know is evil is wickedness itself. But these justice perverters are regularly employed by the psychopathic corporations and by incredibly wealthy and powerful individuals. These incredibly wealthy and powerful individuals are the only people who benefit from and who stand above the compartmentalised, pyramidal, hierarchical structure which envelops the rest of us. Their greatest asset is the amoral genius. And if a genius isn't born amoral, they're only human and are therefore corruptible and probably blackmailable. So how come? How did we come to this sorry state of affairs? A very brief and uneducated rundown of English law is required, I think. It's down to hierarchies again. In pre-Norman England, law was administered by local courts, largely by custom. There was no centrally controlled system. William the Bastard, aka William the Conqueror, claimed the English throne in 1066 and changed all that. Royal courts emerged from the King's Council, and in order for the law to be standardised across the land, judges were appointed by the King. These judges went to the local courts to find the best local laws, and then these were applied across the country. These local laws had developed over hundreds of years and were based on precedent. Precedent is a principle or rule which has been established in a previous legal case. This evolved into what became known as common law, and this in turn became the basis for legal systems across the British Commonwealth. The system evolved and the House of Lords became the Court of Final Appeal in the UK. These appeals are dealt with by 12 judges. So the highest law in the land is a club of 12 judges who are members of a bigger club, the House of Lords. These lords are either hereditary peers with inherited wealth, land and power, or they were in particular service to the Queen or Prime Minister, usually acquiring wealth, land and power in that service. There are a further 28 peers, and these are the bishops in the Church of England. What chance does a common man have against such an institution, with the super rich so completely relying on wealth and privilege and absolutely dependent upon maintaining the status quo? For those immersed in law, it's all just an intellectual game of one-upmanship. They're seldom attached to the outcomes. However, a trip to court for the average person is a massive ordeal, often with life-changing consequences. But to a lawyer, it's just another day at the office. Thank you, Cynical, but getting more cynical every day. Thank you, goodbye.